I really hope more people get into it. And it's just a blend of wrestling, funk wrestling, and jiu-jitsu. Calling it American Jiu-Jitsu. Jake Shields started that name as far as I know, and I love it. American Jiu-Jitsu, I love that, okay? Because that, to me, is the new catch wrestling. It's a new hybrid of all of us pouring our techniques together and trying to understand and master this no-gi game and make it something better than it is, okay? So that's kind of some of the concepts. I'll get more into it about certain wrist grips and where I'm going once we start getting closer to the techniques. But I wanted to get you guys a basic understanding, okay, of where I'm looking for my legs, how I'm trying to approach it, how I'm trying to protect myself, and things like that. Okay, so that's a good overview on some of the approaches and the tactical approach and my mentality at this position. Okay guys, I'm going to teach one that I think is very, very important, and I very rarely see it because it's more wrestling, and that is just a single leg get up to a single leg finish. And the reason why I like this is because it correlates to jiu-jitsu, it correlates to MMA, but when a lot of guys, when they work half guard sweeps are great, but the problem that I have with some of them is the mentality behind it. Is that I'm staying on the ground, I'm going to try to get on this guy and twist and turn him and get him to a sit and all these other things. But what if he decides to bail? What if your legs aren't right? What if he's sweaty? What if he's a better athlete than you? What if, like, because you gotta remember, there's a lot of people use equipment. They wear long tights or long sleeves because they're trying to get an advantage on absorbing sweat, not to protect their skin. And guys get sweaty, and I think that you should try not to avoid dealing with the sweaty. I think you should just learn to counter it rather than use equipment. That's just my attitude. Because what happens one day when you don't have it, or your grappling game gonna go downhill because you can't adjust to the sweat. So, don't freak from that challenge. You can mix it up, wear tight sometimes you don't, or whatever you wanna do. But the single leg get up should be your fail safe. So, I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go and I'm gonna look for a half guard sweep, like a single leg sweep. But what tends to happen here, when you get in, there'll be movement, especially in the MMA world. Guys aren't gonna stay down there. That's why you don't see a lot of half guard sweeps in MMA. They're more rare. You see more submissions than you see half guard sweeps, because guys are gonna scramble, and people who win scramble win fights. That's my big saying. And mat work wrestling is the king of scrambling, in my opinion. So when I go to the single, I feel things a little off. I'm gonna be deep, and then he's gonna start to move. I'm gonna come up with the single, because when I'm coming up, I have a better chance to finish it, and at least I'm getting off my back and I'm trying to alter position. Once I'm up, I'm gonna finish the single, and I'm doing that because it's the same as a sweep. I got up with the single and I dumped him. That's a sweep to me. It's the same thing as me being on my back and just rolling him over. All right, I have the same result. So I'm just gonna go over that. It's not very technical, so it shouldn't be hard to pick up, but a lot of people have some issues with it. Heavyweights, I'm telling you, you gotta get this, okay? Not too many heavyweights should be on their back doing sweeps, at least in no-gi. You gotta have some serious skill, okay? Now, I'm gonna show you a couple tricks here. One, let's scoot back a little, boss. There you go, that's better. My right leg here is, it's doing an outside hook. I don't know if you can see it, I'm trapping his lower quarter. And I'm doing this for a couple of reasons. I got a couple of things I can do from here. But I'm doing this to help pull myself forward. So just return yourself. So if I'm playing here and I want to get up, after I slip this knee or whatever the case is, I can pull this and slingshot myself in. Okay? I can slingshot myself in. So it's a cool weapon to use, and you can use it for a variety of things, and I'll show you some options in this DVD set. Now, when I come up, I'm looking for my underhook, but I want to go under his butt cheek. And I'm basically, my fingers are going to try to wrap on the inside of his thigh. I want to go under the butt. And I'm doing this because I want the single leg sweep, but part of it is to protect myself. Now, some of you guys, if you haven't gone with a really good whizzer guy, you got to be very careful with your underhooks, because a good whizzer guy will rip out your labrum like that. And a lot of the concepts that I see a lot of guys do and a lot of basic sweeps, they're getting away with it because the guy they're going against isn't a wizard guy. They don't understand wizards that well. And because of that, they're not getting torqued. And you gotta be very careful. I have a torn labrum. It sucks. Once you get your body wrecked like that, it's hard to get it back to normal. Okay? So be very careful. When you go single leg, it protects you from the guillotine, it protects you from the wizard, it protects you from a lot of things. Once you start going from tight waist, you better have a lot of things right because you're leaving yourself vulnerable to other counters. Okay? So I'm gonna play inside. Now, sometimes I'll cross my feet. We'll get into this for certain techniques. And I'm just trying to cross my feet, and I'm trying to create a little more hip pain, a little more control. But when I do this, I'm also securing myself in a position. I'm not really moving around. But I'm gonna do is I'm gonna keep this knee in that mid position. I don't wanna get sandwiched right now. That's a different scenario. All right, I'm gonna keep that knee in a mid position. I don't wanna go too high with it, so it'll knock it out of the way or anything. I just kind of be in that mid zone. Now, when I'm here, I'm gonna stay protecting myself. If you can get the wrist, take it. 100% take it. But let's take the scenario that he's hand fighting you to death. You're just trying to get out there. You're not getting his wrist. Let's assume that, okay? So I'm just trying to protect myself. I'm staying shell. I'm going to now, as I'm here, I'm going to pull, and I'm going to pull this foot, and I'm going to catapult myself, keeping my elbow to my thigh. I'm doing that to protect my corner. I don't want him in. So when this leg kicks forward, this hand comes in. You see what I'm saying? So it's not like boom, and then I pummel, and then you can see just there his head position would have beat me. So I want to make sure I have a nice tight shell.